Hi, everybody. This is Ulla Tinsley from Autism Mama Bear Talk. Today we have the man, the myth, the legend, Doc Nuzum back with us, who's going to talk about more detox and why is it important and his amazing new theory project, the funnel. Let me bring Doc back to us. And hi, Doctor.
Hello, how are you, Ula?
I'm very well, thanks. Thank you for
Good.
coming again to the show because we had a lot of questions from our viewers and they want you back. So you're back.
Wonderful. I'm glad to be here. Very glad to be here.
If we can talk about this funnel, because we talked a little bit before the show, it's really amazing theory. Can you explain what the detox funnel is all about?
Sure. Well, here's the thing. Detox has to start with drainage. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
If you have a wound, okay, what do you have to do with the wound in order for it to heal? You have to cleanse it. Okay.
Right.
And if you cut your finger, that means you put it under water and you flush it out. You have to drain all the waste and get the bulk of the material that's in there out. Okay, you have to do that first. You have to do
Yes.
that before you try to disinfect your finger.
Right.
Okay, so you don't want to put disinfectant over dirt and rust, right? Or
Mm-hmm.
right. So you have to get all the debris and junk out of that wound first. Correct.
Mm-hmm.
Detox, as far as detoxification of the entire body, works the same way. You have to start with removing the bulk, getting the
Mm-hmm.
major waste out of the system before you can get to the cellular waste.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing, think about this. If your cells, let's say your cells detoxify,
Yeah.
well, that waste has to go into the extracellular fluid, which is drained by your lymphatic system, which then has to drain into your liver and kidneys, which then have to they have to leave either through the urinary tract or through the bowel.
Mm-hmm.
So if at the top of the funnel you have cellular detoxification, if the cells detoxify and the lymphatic system's plugged up and isn't draining properly,
Mm-hmm.
oh, where's the toxins going to go? They can't go
Exactly.
anywhere, right? And so
Yeah.
what happens is people have Herxheimer's effect
Mm-hmm.
when they detoxify, or they have a healing crisis, or these types of things. Which, if you detox properly, you can very much minimize those issues.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, those are something that uh, it is not. It doesn't have to be part of the healing process. I guess it would have. It doesn't have to be a painful part of the healing process. Let me just
Yeah.
put it that way.
Yeah.
And so, if you can imagine a funnel, okay, at the
Mm-hmm.
bottom of the funnel you have the colon, okay.
Yes. Okay.
Okay, so that's at the bottom, and the urinary tract that's down at the bottom, and then up above that you've got the liver and the kidneys, your
Mm-hmm.
major filtration systems, right?
Right.
Then above that you have the organs, your heart, your brain, and all of these other organs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then above that you have the lymphatic system, okay, because everything in your body, including your bones, are drained by the lymphatic system. All the waste drains
Wow.
out of everywhere via your lymphatic system. Your brain,
Mm-hmm.
the waste in your brain drains out
Mm-hmm.
primarily through the lymphatic system. Lymphatic system is your body's sewer system.
Right.
Okay, and so all the cells dump their waste into the extracellular fluid. That extracellular fluid gets flows off into the lymphatic system, where
Mm-hmm.
the lymph vessels, the lymph nodes, start to detoxify the that extracellular fluid. Okay, and we call it lymphatic fluid once it's in the lymph,
Yeah.
channels and whatnot. But that gets the purification process starts in the lymph
Mm-hmm.
nodes, where white blood cells actually go in and eat the waste. Okay, and whatever they don't get rid of, has to get sent off to then the liver and the kidneys.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so
So what are the symptoms when you have clogged up lymphatic system?
Okay, clogged up lymphatic system, person does not detoxify well. Okay,
Right.
so that they
Like
or
swollen lymph nodes under the
absolutely
jawbone and
swollen lymph nodes under the jaw, headaches in the back of the head,
mm-hmm.
uh, tightness in the chest, tightness in the underarm,
Mm-hmm.
in the inguinal toward the groin, tightness there.
Mm-hmm.
You get with a plugged up or congested lymphatic system, you have allergies, you have all kinds of sensitivities. Okay, think because when you're exposed to something that is toxic or something that your body doesn't like,
Mm-hmm.
if all the detox pathways are open, it just goes through your system. It
Right.
doesn't get stuck, doesn't cause major issues. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so your body deals with it really well.
Mm-hmm.
If your lymphatic system in particular is plugged up, it goes in your system and stays there. It doesn't move.
Yeah.
And so it gets stuck in your system. So you get, for people with, here's another lymphatic congestion symptom is
Mm-hmm.
multiple chemical sensitivities.
Mm.
That is a
Interesting.
problem at the congested lymphatic system is what these people have. And so their lymphatic system isn't draining because the filters aren't filtering well and because the colon is plugged up almost
Mm-hmm.
okay. And here's everyone asked me, so doc, how often should my bowels move?
Yeah.
My answer is, how often do you eat?
Ha. Right. Yeah.
Okay, if you're having one bowel movement a day but you're eating 3 times a day, where are those extra 2 meals going?
Whew. That's a good question.
That's that, and that's the answer.
Yeah. I know.
you
So,
know
how do we clean? I mean, right now there are so many great diets. The Whole30, which is like a lot of fruit and vegetables, mainly vegetables, very little fruit, and a little bit of protein and fats. Then there is ketogenic diet, which is a lot of fatty acids and good healthy fats like avocado, coconut oil, and blah blah blah, and
Perfect.
meat. And then, which we are trying now with Michael.
Good.
So far, so good. And
You know,
yes, and then there
yes.
are other diets that are saying, okay, this is for lymphatic system, like the juice cleanse for 2 weeks, extreme, or 1 week, or 3 day. Uh, but really, how do we get rid of this waste, the toxic waste that's flowing in our lymphatic system, and then it affects all the other organs, like our
Everything
colon
else.
congestion and stuff.
You see, when you have a lymphatic congestion,
Mm-hmm.
your body your body's going to start diluting what's in the lymphatic system by adding water to it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What happens is people start to swell.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know if you know anybody that's overweight, but I know a few people that are overweight.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, in order to get overweight, your lymphatic system has to be congested.
Mm.
Okay. So it's super important, super
Yeah.
important. But the way to unplug the lymphatic system is to start with the colon.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The colon has to be not just cleaned once, it has to be maintained clean. Okay, so things have to be moving and exiting and
Yes.
exiting and exiting. You can't get things built up in there. Otherwise, it starts to reabsorb into your system, congesting your lymphatic system.
Wow.
Okay, as
Makes
that
sense.
sure. So if you don't, okay. Here's an analogy, and this is for all the moms out there. You'll get this. This one makes sense. All right.
Mm-hmm.
Think of your colon as the same as the garbage can in your kitchen.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. If you're cooking in your kitchen all day, if you're cooking 3 times a day, how often do you have to take the garbage out? not once
Every
a
other
day.
day. Well, it depends how big is the garbage can.
Right,
Yeah.
yeah. Right. Let's say you only have a garbage can that's big enough to fit the waste from one meal.
Right. Yes.
Okay, if you think about it from that
It
standpoint,
will be overflowing.
exactly, you got to take it out every time you
Yeah.
fix a meal,
Mm-hmm.
And so, um, so think of the colon along those lines. And so it
Mm-hmm.
has to be moving, otherwise it starts to overflow. And when it overflows, it plugs up the lymphatic system.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The first sign of that is abdominal bloating.
Yep.
Okay, so if you consistently, if your abdomen just keeps getting bloated and stays bloated, or just won't slim down,
Mm-hmm.
it goes back to the colon isn't eliminating properly.
Mm-hmm.
And so that whole elimination process has to, it's super important.
Mm-hmm.
Just like keeping the trash out of your kitchen is important.
Yes.
It's super important. So if the lymphatic system gets congested,
Mm-hmm.
it'll cause the liver and kidneys to also become congested.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because lymphatic fluid it's called a thixotropic fluid. So it's a fluid that uh, the warmer it gets, the more fluid it gets.
Mm-hmm.
Okay? But as swelling sets into the lymphatic system, that water insulates the lymphatic system and it makes the fluid cooler. It keeps it
Right.
cool. Okay, so as it flows and the body does move it some, it's so thick it gets into the liver and kidneys and
Mm.
starts to congest them also.
Mm-hmm.
And so we start with the colon and we start with movement moves
So
the
that's
lymphatic
the
fluid.
narrow part.
Right, that's the narrow part. We got to get that all moving because that the lymphatic system's up here toward the top of the,
Yeah.
and it drains down,
Mm-hmm.
but we have to unplug the bottom of the drain.
Mm-hmm.
Okay,
So that's
we'll
number
get
one.
that's number one. And as we start moving, the lymphatic system starts to move. Things start to circulate again. Then we have to go up to the kidneys and the liver. We
Mm-hmm.
have to work on those kidneys and liver and get those things cleaned out. Uh, get them filtering properly. Okay, it's kind of if those of you that have water filters,
Mm-hmm.
you you either have to take the filters out every once in a while and wash them out,
Yes.
or you have to replace the filter.
Mm-hmm.
In our system, you can't replace the filters, so,
Wow. Okay. Yeah.
so you have to wash them out periodically. It's just
Yes.
real simple, and it's a simple concept actually. And just like a filter for your water system has to get cleaned out every once in a while,
Mm-hmm.
so do our filters. Our filters have to get cleaned out every once in a while, and so as we do that, then that decongests the whole lymphatic system. It starts to drain. Okay, so then all your itises, your inflammation
Yeah.
starts to clear up. Okay, so your arthritis clears up.
Wow.
Your bursitis clears up.
Mm-hmm.
Your carditis clears up. Your hepatitis or your nephritis, all these itises,
Yeah.
okay, they start to clear up because they're able to drain finally.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and until they can drain, the only thing they can do is swell up, and we call that inflammation.
Yes.
And so it goes back to drainage again. So we drain the colon, we flush out the liver and kidneys, and then we maintain that lymphatic drainage. We keep that draining so it drains the organs. Once we get that happening, which can take this is a process. What I have people do typically in the clinic is I have them do my 2-week detox program.
Mm-hmm.
I have them do 2 to 4 weeks on my GI tract protocol,
Mm-hmm.
and then I have them do my 21-day detox program. And so they do 1, 2, 3. It's just kind of in that order.
Right.
And
In
by the
how
time
short period of time? I mean, you do that one after another or with some
one
breaks?
one after another is usually how we do it.
Okay.
And, they in doing that,
Mm-hmm.
going from one right into the next, it really keeps the lymphatic. It helps the lymphatic system clear. It gets the colon moving, and it almost like trains the colon to keep
Yeah.
things moving, you know.
Right.
And then by the time they get into the 21-day detox program, their liver and kidneys are actually clearing and
Hmm.
flushing at that point, and we get the lymphatic drainage it really catches up at that point. And um, with that, we see weight loss, we see uh, things in just inflammatory problems just
Hmm.
disappear. It's not a treatment,
Yeah.
okay? We're just helping circulate the waste out of the body, and so
Yeah.
and it not, you know, which helps the body clean up its own
Yes.
environment.
Mm.
And as that happens and that clean environment starts to come forward and starts to happen, you start to have this clean environment inside your body, things just start clearing up because your
Mm.
body's designed to fix itself. And if we set the stage for it to do that, it
Hmm.
will. And
Right.
that is our basic drainage program that we
Hmm.
do, and we get really good results with that.
Awesome. Yeah, and people don't realize how much waste they actually accumulate because when people die and the doctors from autopsy, they often mention, this person had like 5 pounds or 8 pounds of waste in their bowels or in
When
their colon.
I don't know if you remember the actor John Wayne in the
Yes.
Western movies. Okay, he was 6 foot 4 inches tall.
Uh-huh.
When he died, he weighed 160 pounds. Was very skinny. In
Right.
his autopsy, they removed 40 pounds of fecal matter from his colon.
My
So
gosh.
at 6 foot 4, he only weighed 120 pounds. He was carrying 40 pounds of waste in his gut.
Wow.
Um, they said he didn't have a bowel movement for the last 6 weeks of his life.
How
And
can you I mean, I know it's possible because I knew some people when I used to work with older people coming to the place I worked. They were telling me, "Oh, I don't drink water." I was like, "How can you not drink water?" "Oh, I just drink wine and I eat." I was like, "How often do you go to use the bathroom?" "Well,
right.
like once a week, once every 2 weeks."
Again,
Yes.
where is that all? Where's the waste from the food going? You know, because you don't
Yeah.
metabolize all of it. It.
Yeah. I know.
Oh man.
Doc, we have a question. Sue is asking, are they known to get sick or aggressive before it starts to get better while detoxing? It's referring to kids on the spectrum.
Sure. Okay. Um, what I'm talking about is following this process where we start with the
Mm.
colon and try to unplug things. Okay.
Yes.
And think of it being a funnel that's plugged. And we remove the plug at the bottom, and then we unplug more things, and we unplug as we move up the scale
Hmm.
from the colon to the liver, the kidneys, to the lymphatic system, to the organs, to the tissues, to the cells. As we move up in that progression,
Hmm.
we minimize a lot of the
Behaviors.
the nasty parts of the detox.
Yeah.
One thing that does happen, this is something not a lot of people talk about,
Hmm.
um, is that there is, when the body physically detoxifies,
Hmm.
there is an emotional detox that does happen very often with that.
Hmm.
That does happen. And um, I
Yeah.
it's something I've noticed with children on the spectrum. They're more sensitive anyways.
Hmm.
They may be closed off, but they're sensitive, very, very
Hmm.
sensitive. They they're not shut down.
Yes, I
you know,
know.
they know what's going on,
Hmm.
and so they have plugged up emotions, if you will. Okay,
Hmm.
and so as the body detoxifies, sometimes those,
Hmm.
it'll unplug some of those emotions. Also, that does
Right.
happen. But
Yeah.
if you follow this sequence, what I'm talking about is we're minimizing a lot of the discomfort
Mm-hmm.
in the whole detox process, because it if you here's the thing, if you start at the top and try to do cellular detox and
Mm-hmm.
everything else is plugged up,
Yeah.
all 90% of what gets detoxified from the cells just circulates right back
Yeah.
through the body.
Makes sense.
Oh, it causes so many problems, and people get very sick. They feel very, very bad from it,
Mm-hmm.
And if you think about it, those of us that aren't toxic, aren't very toxic, if we do that, we feel bad. You take
Mm-hmm.
somebody that is intoxicated, has been, you know, uh, injured by toxins, okay?
Mm-hmm.
And if you start detoxing them at a cellular level without unplugging the drainage system of the
Mm-hmm.
body, I mean, they're gonna have, I mean, things are gonna be painful. It's
Sure.
gonna dredge up a lot of things, and it's gonna be a very slow process.
Mm-hmm. So
Okay.
what can we do to do the right steps and to speed up? Because like let's assume an average Joe comes and he's got some gastrointestinal issues. He's always bloated, irritated for no reason, problems sleeping, sometimes skin breaking out, and the usual average Joe. What do we
Okay.
do?
Four real simple things as far as supplements go, and then I'll talk about diet real quick.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
My digestive detox. The digestive detox is designed to help train the colon to start moving again. It's for
Yeah,
people that they're only having one bowel movement a day, or once a week.
I know.
um, they're and what it is to help get things moving again. And
Mm-hmm.
it with 2 or 3 months of taking that, it
Mm-hmm.
retrains the colon to be moving and to keep moving it. So it's not a cathartic
Yeah.
laxative or anything like that. It's for um, training the peristalsis, the pumping action in the intestines, to start working again. Okay. My black brew. Black brew is, initially we designed that for a heroin detox clinic.
Yeah. That's
Okay.
amazing.
So in the with that, when we started it in that clinic, we have the dogs in the background here.
That's fine. I have a dog who is trying to get in as well. It's all good.
Um, what uh, what we did is that was the these poor folks coming off of heroin had 72 hours of just it was terrible.
Hmm.
The detox is terrible. Um, we worked with this till we got a formula that brought that down to about 12 hours. Okay, so from 72 hours, we cut 60 hours of their discomfort
Hmm.
off
Minimized.
by we
Wow.
minimize that by enabling the body to detoxify itself.
Hmm.
And so Black Brew is one of those. It's just amazing.
Hmm. I agree.
The other thing would be enzymes and probiotics. Um, Probiotics help to reset and reestablish a good microbiome. If you have a healthy microbiome, your gut will be healthy and stay healthy.
Hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, it's something. It's kind of like being out of shape and starting to go to the gym. Okay?
Right. Yeah.
It doesn't. You don't go to the gym one time and get in shape.
Yeah. Right.
It takes as a process, and it takes some
Yeah.
time. And so probiotics are real similar to that, in that you can take one bottle of probiotics and it might not do a whole lot, but
Hmm.
it's going to take that consistent exposure, just like going exercising consistently. uh, that consistent exposure causes major changes.
Hmm.
It, but it takes time.
Yes.
Okay. And so probiotics fall in that category. And then
Hmm.
you have enzymes. Digestive enzymes uh, should help with all of the digestive processes.
Hmm.
Um, so if somebody has a sluggish bowel,
Hmm.
enzymes should help loosen things up so it can move easier.
Right.
Um, if someone has allergies, and they just don't tolerate very many things. Enzymes help breaking things down so they're easier for the body to handle. And so, enzymes just help with all kinds of different things. So those would be the four things I would look at as far as supplements. As far as diet, we have in my book Detox for Life, we promote a whole food, organic whole food diet. So eating as raw as possible. That's good, but what I promote is that you change. You get on a diet like that, stick with it for about 90 days, and then switch. So you might do the whole raw food diet for about 90 days, and then go to the ketogenic diet for 90 days, and then come back to maybe a paleo diet for 90 days, or you know what I'm saying? And so rotate every 90 days, rotate your eating plan. Okay, so think of it that way, as an eating plan, okay, not a diet.
Yeah.
It's an eating plan. Okay?
It's like a menu that comes every 90 days.
Right. And that way, if you're strategic with it, it'll get you where you want to go.
Yeah.
If you the thing with diets, if you eat the same diet over and over and over again, eventually the diet will start causing you problems. Okay, and so by rotating every 90 days is what I've seen clinically that works really well. There's other doctors that concur, doctors like Dr. Tony Jimenez from the Hope for Cancer Institute, Dr. Lee Cowden down in Texas. Both of them would totally agree with what I'm telling you here. Every 90 days, they're very, very much in alignment with that. Every 90 days, switch your diet.
And I think even in the clinic Hope for Cancer, they rotate their diets as well for their patients.
Every 90 days, it's different program.
Yeah. That's amazing. It's very important. And again, Sue is asking, have you ever used, I think it's called clay ash, used in warm water baths to help detox, or is it a scam, waste of time and money?
They're expensive, and they're good for skin issues. Okay, I've not found them to be really good for more than that. Okay, that's been my experience. What I've seen better results with is a basic Epsom salt bath. And a lot of times Epsom salt and baking soda. Bathe in that. That helps to detox it helps to loosen up the lymphatic system so it detoxes well. The magnesium causes dilation of all the vessels in our body, including our bile duct, which is super important, and also the uterus, as the tubes coming out of the kidneys as they go down to the bladder, it opens those up also. And so if we can get those to dilate, things can leave our filtration systems better. Okay, and that's what Epsom salts do. It's real simple, and the best way to do that actually is to bathe in it. Better than taking it by mouth. It's actually much better to bathe in it.
Okay, but also we have to mention not to buy just from regular supermarket where they add chemicals and those synthetic essential oils for fragrance, right?
Right. You can get in those synthetic fragrances, you can have upwards of 4,000 different chemicals. It's astronomical. It's just amazing. In toxicology, we do studies on one chemical at a time. Okay, and we find out, okay, well, this particular chemical in certain amounts will cause cancer. What we don't test is the other things that we commonly find with that chemical. And we get all these other chemicals. And what we know is that if you take this chemical that's tiny and you bond it to this chemical over here that's big, this tiny chemical will open up the body to that bigger chemical.
Yeah.
And so that's when we're talking fragrances and things like that, that can be really scary because
Yes.
you got 4,000 chemicals there. That's, oh my
Yeah.
gosh.
And again, you have to be careful which essential oils you use, because sometimes people buy just plain Epsom salts, and then they go to supermarket and it's like $5, $10 per nice bottle of essential oils, and they get more sick. They say, "Oh, this bath doesn't work. It doesn't work for me." No, no,
Right.
it doesn't work because you buy the wrong stuff. You're actually adding toxins rather than help to detox.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
So do you offer essential oils as well in your shop?
We do. We do. We have peppermint,
Hmm.
lemon,
I love
grapefruit,
those.
tea tree. Yeah, we have this a lot of the citrus ones. We have tea tree. We have frankincense.
Oh, that's my favorite.
Frankincense is, oh, I
Yeah,
love frankincense.
it's the best. Yeah.
Yes, we have rosemary. Rosemary also,
Mhm.
and so we don't have a real wide range of the different essential oils, but we do have our own line. Yes,
Mhm. Okay,
um,
and they are, of course, 100% organic,
100% organic.
certified. Yeah,
Yes, yes, and these are things I use with my family. So,
that says
okay,
it all.
and
Yeah,
right, right. This is
yeah,
what I
that's a
use.
certificate for me. If you
Right,
give it to your family, to your kids, that's safe.
right, right, right.
Yeah, I mean, that's the common thing, that people just go for quantity instead of quality.
Right,
Especially with essential oils, it's such a touchy subject because there are many companies that
right,
try to promote and special offers. But again, if you're buying a nice bottle of essential oil and it costs peanuts,
right,
be
right.
careful. Something's wrong with their
Absolutely.
product.
There are two things. One is depending on the company's marketing methods,
Hmm.
they have to have bigger markups on a product
Hmm.
um, to be able to to pay everybody in their marketing programs.
Yeah.
Other companies, so they may not. In a lot of times in those programs, they have very good, very high quality products.
Hmm.
It's very, very expensive. And
Yes.
then you have in other uh, the other side of it is a lot of times you have people that are they're cutting the oils. They call it, that's what they call it. They
Hmm.
cut it, they dilute it. They dilute the
Right.
oils with other oils, or even sometimes with synthetic oils and things that are very,
Yikes.
which is
Yes.
dangerous. It's dangerous.
Yeah.
Um, there are a few small companies like mine
Hmm.
that we actually buy from the same places. We purchase oils from the same distilleries that the big major brands out there are purchasing from,
Hmm.
and uh, so we have the same quality. It's the same exact oils, but because we're smaller companies, we don't have big marketing budgets. We can sell them at a lot more affordable prices.
Yeah.
Yeah. This was
That's
uh,
awesome.
it's nice. It's just
Yeah.
nice.
Yes, absolutely. And essential oils really help, because people are like, okay, essential oils, it's a new trend, it's a new cool thing. Everybody's doing essential oils, either, to steam up the room and have nice, natural air refreshener, or to put with carrier oil somewhere on your skin. I love peppermint oil. When I have headache, or eucalyptus, I put it on the back of my neck, and it's like, wonderful.
You
Yes,
know,
and also for Michael, we were giving him frankincense. And again, there is a debate. Can you give? Some people were telling me to put on the top of his mouth,
no,
yeah,
as
to
long
rub it in like a drop. But I was always very hesitant. I don't know how his bowels will respond, and I'm not very.
what we do is we actually just apply it to the top of the head.
Oh,
Um, Essential oils are so tiny, the molecules are so
Yes.
tiny, they'll penetrate. It doesn't have to actually go, you can actually apply them to your skin. As long as it doesn't irritate your skin, you apply them topically and they work just fine.
Mm-hmm.
The other thing is smelling an essential oil, okay? Inhaling the fumes of an essential oil uh, takes the oil directly to your brain.
Wow.
Okay,
Mm-hmm.
olfactory nerves, as they pick up those chemicals, they translate them right into the brain. It goes right to the brain before it ever even hits your bloodstream.
Mm-hmm.
And so, actually, smelling or inhaling essential oils is very effective. In the clinic, we would take um, frankincense
Mm-hmm.
and we put it in nebulizers, and we take 5 to 10 drops of frankincense, put it in the nebulizer bell
Mm-hmm.
with about a teaspoon of distilled water.
Mm-hmm.
We had people, we still do it. We have people just inhale those vapors. Um,
Yes. I used to do that
direct.
when Michael had more asthma-like symptoms, and
Mhm.
I didn't want to put those steroids and inhalers. So I
Right.
was just adding a few drops of frankincense oil in distilled water, and he was just
Perfect.
inhaling that. Yeah.
Works very, very well.
Mm-hmm.
Very well. I had a little boy one time. This is interesting. I have a product that we don't have it on our website, but we use it
Mm-hmm.
clinically. We call it stabilized oxygen. We
Mm.
took stabilized oxygen, frankincense oil, and distilled water. This little boy had come to see me. He was 11 years old, and he just got his driver's license, so it was this is some years ago. Um,
Ah, okay. I was
and
like 11-year-old, Idaho,
yeah, no,
maybe.
no, this is some years ago. I think
Right.
probably 5 years ago. He had been in and out of the hospital for 3 weeks with the same asthma attack. It never
Mhm.
stopped. It was just
Yes.
for 3 weeks, and the poor boy was exhausted. He had hardly slept for 3 weeks. Um,
Mm-hmm.
his dad brought him to my clinic. His dad actually had to carry him into the clinic. And we set the nebulizer on him, and within 30 seconds, he fell asleep. He was breathing normal, fell
Wow.
asleep. Which is amazing. That was
Mm-hmm.
amazing. Within 30 seconds, his asthma attack stopped. And medically, in the hospital, they hadn't been able to stop it for 3 weeks. And
Yes.
so here we used a natural substance. It cost, um, our it cost $15. The treatment
Wow.
cost $15. And here's the interesting thing is that was the last asthma attack that little boy had.
Wow.
Never had one again.
Yes.
Absolutely amazing. I've had that happen multiple times over the years, and that's been really, really interesting. We actually don't know exactly why, but we're triggering something that
Mm-hmm.
stops the spasm of
That's
the
amazing.
muscles. So
Yeah, I
it's
mean, even
amazing.
when we moved to America 1.5 years ago, Michael had just mild allergic reaction, which triggered this asthma-like attack. And again, we didn't know any doctors here. We were just settling down. And I had my essential oils and a nebulizer. So I just put those frankincense drops,
Right.
and he just used it as a nebulizer. Stopped. And like you said, touch wood,
Right.
so far, nothing, no
Nothing.
asthma attacks, and
Right.
we're in North Carolina, so we get tons of pollen
Everything.
and allergens. But he's
Right.
much better. Okay, we are doing all the detox protocols with him. Maybe not 100% to the dot, because sometimes he goes to school and grabs someone else's lunch. But we are trying as much as we can, and so he's improving as well. And like you said, this funnel, I believe that we're getting lower and lower, and the flow is much better.
Great. Great. And that's the whole thing is if you start at the bottom and
Yes.
get that colon moving.
Hmm.
The two things is we get the colon moving and we start moving around. In
Hmm.
movement and the internal movement of the colon flushing and things moving out, that starts to loosen up that lymphatic system, so it starts to drain. And if we then move on to getting the kidneys and the liver filtering better, that further finishes off the draining process.
Yeah.
And then the tissue swelling can start to go down. As that happens, things just start to function better.
Yes,
And so,
I mean, I can see firsthand on me, on Michael, and today I watched your video on organics, educational video about moving and exercise, how important it is. And I noticed with myself when I had lymphedema and I could do the detox and everything, yes, it would shrink a little bit, but then if I stay still, if I sit around a lot, if I sit at my desk, don't move around, immediately it blows up again. So lymphatic system must be put into motion, right? Heat it up.
it's one of the things I'm going to talk with God about when I get up there. The lymphatic system drains upward.
Wow.
Which is really it's odd. It's a drainage system that moves upward, and so the design. Here's the interesting thing about it: is the design is for movement, muscular contractions, and movement of the joints. Okay, to push that fluid up where it's supposed to go. But if we're sitting, we don't have enough. If you're sitting, your legs aren't moving, your the feet aren't moving, and so none of the fluid from below your waist is moving up. It's all static. It just so it becomes stasis there. And then if you're not twisting and turning and bending and all these other things, your torso doesn't drain real well. And if your arms aren't moving, if you think about it, if you look at a chart of the lymphatic system, you'll notice most lymph nodes are right around joints. They're really close. Think of the armpit. We hear about lymph nodes here. Or right around the shoulder, there's lots of lymph nodes in the shoulder area. And they're there so that they can be moved.
Right. But when the lymph nodes are blocked because of the tumor, like I had this a few years ago, and the doctor removed tumor because it looked suspicious. 2 biopsies didn't show clear enough evidence that it was anything serious. So he said, we're going to proceed. We're going to remove the tumor and some surrounding lymph nodes. And then I heard the other doctor that said, oh, you shouldn't have removed lymph nodes because it's like a filtering system and sponge. So if it was swollen and inflamed, it was just catching all those, viruses or whatever microbes to protect the whole body. And now they are removed. So now your system needs to work much harder to actually filter all those.
There is research. Here's something real interesting. There is research in people consuming medicinal mushrooms that lymph nodes that have been cut out grow back after time consuming medicinal mushrooms. Yes. There's some regenerative properties that they have that in some folks they've been able to regrow lymph nodes that have been cut out by consuming medicinal mushrooms. Again, that's one of I love medicinal mushrooms there.
Oh, I know. Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. And I was always very hesitant with mushrooms because I was taught, infections, candida, yeast infections, fungus, it's all fungi, you're eating fungi family. Then it's opposite.
It's really interesting. It actually works very similar to how vaccines are supposed to work. You introduce a little bit of something and the body creates an immunity to that. There's components to medicinal mushrooms that work. They actually work that humoral immunity component of our immune system. They work all of our immune system, but they stimulate that component so that as you consume medicinal mushrooms, you become more resistant to candida and to fungal
Wow.
infections and things like that. It actually has the opposite effect. It's real interesting.
Wow. Sue is asking again, doing detox this way eliminate die off?
Yes, yes.
Yes.
It massively reduces the whole die-off effect, the Hertzheimer effect, or that healing crisis
Mm-hmm.
effect. Um, that all comes about because when the cells in the tissues
Mm-hmm.
detox, when they flush the toxins out of themselves, if the toxins cannot drain out of the body some effectively,
Mm-hmm.
uh, it actually causes what we call an ROS factor, and what that is it causes massive oxidative stress, and
Right.
so your amount of free radicals actually increases by detoxing from the cellular and tissue detox first. If you
Mm-hmm.
don't drain the system first and clear the pathways for things to eliminate, um, you actually get a recirculation of toxins, which
Mm-hmm.
causes damage.
Yes. I mean, everything you said makes perfect sense. Like even introducing those medicinal mushrooms, because the body will learn new things, and then when any fungal infection tries to creep in,
Yep,
it will
it's
respond.
there. It's able to
Yeah.
respond. Right, right. There's
So
a
is it the same way with allergens, like when you're allergic to honey? Like Michael, my son, he's allergic to
yes,
honey, bananas, yogurt, all the healthy, good things that are like natural
right,
antibiotics and all the
right,
good things. But when he stops eating, for example, he stopped eating bread completely, gluten was eliminated from our diet, and he was doing great, improved a lot. Then we
right.
did allergy test again, and it showed that he has very mild allergy to gluten. So then, okay, occasionally party, family gathering, holidays, you can have a little bit of this bread roll, or you can
Right,
have regular cookies. And then we did the test again half a year ago, and allergy was like woof through the roof.
right, right. That goes back to um, okay. In my definition of the healing process,
Hmm.
healing starts when someone's stable.
Hmm.
Okay, they have to be stable. The problem with being stable is you can't stay stable because life is progressive.
Yes.
Okay, so you're either going to progress or you're going to regress.
Yes.
Okay,
Hmm.
and so once you're stable, there's only one proper step after becoming stable, and that is detoxification.
Hmm.
Once you've detoxified, though, there's a process of fortification or rebuilding of the body that has to
Yes.
happen. Okay, now in that process, as detoxification has occurred sufficiently in your body and you're maintaining that process, but you don't have to really focus on it quite as heavily.
Hmm.
Okay, when you get past that point, we're actually into a phase where we're fortifying your system. And in fortifying your body, it is more than just rebuilding. What we're doing is we're increasing your body's ability to handle things.
Hmm.
Okay, so we're increasing your body's ability to adapt.
Hmm.
And that is the whole fortification process. And that's that, but that can't happen until you've detoxified properly.
Right.
Okay, and as you got to get things clean enough for that to happen. It's kind of like um, if you had a plot of land
Hmm.
and there's all these trees growing all over the place and there's brush and everything, but you want to build a house there.
Hmm.
You're gonna just start building a house in the middle of the trees, and then
Right.
you know
No.
you have to go in and clear the
Right.
land and then build the house, right? And
Hmm.
it's a similar process. And so detoxification is the clearing of the land so
Hmm.
that we can rebuild it, rebuild the house.
Sure. Yeah,
And
makes sense. So, what are the practical steps once you go through all the detox and you clear? Oh, I was gonna ask about the coffee enemas. And
yes.
is it
Oh, very
safe?
good.
for children to do? Because people are asking me, okay, colon cleanse and then liver and kidney and all the steps
Um,
funnel.
uh,
And is it safe to do the coffee enema for a child?
yes, yes. In what we do with our children is something I've done for years. Is I use chamomile tea enemas in children.
Oh,
It has the same detoxing effect, only it calms them down, which most parents appreciate that.
yes, yes. Oh my goodness.
It works
Giving
very.
my
It
son
has the
coffee.
same.
All
So
right.
the chamomile tea enema, or also a catnip tea enema, those work very, very well. They do the exact same they have the same detoxification effect on the colon, the liver, and all those things. Draining the liver and all that has exactly the same effect. Only it has a calming effect also. In so in children,
Yeah.
and also I do the same thing in adults that have more anxiety and things like
Mhm.
that. That they just don't do well with any type of stimulant, and so
Mhm.
we use chamomile tea or sometimes catnip tea
Yeah.
um, as a remedy. And a lot of times that is something in children. We might use that in the first month or so to get things moving and help purge the bowels so that all the garbage is taken out.
Yeah. So, what is the youngest age that it's safe for a child to have chamomile or catnip enema?
Um, you can go very, very young, but you'd want to use like a fleet enema bottle. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
What we've done with our younger children or our older children when they were young,
Mm-hmm.
we would take the fleet enema bottle and clean it out, and then we'd use that to because they don't need as much fluid as a
Right. Yeah.
and
Obviously. Yeah.
it's
And it cannot be hot tea
right. No, and I always tell
or
people
coffee.
don't add cream and sugar.
And do not drink it. No. Starbucks. Yes, I know. Oh, yeah. So it's safe, right? It's and
Yes.
where do you recommend to go and buy enema? Is it available like in any
Um,
pharmacy, or it must be specific um, tool?
Pharmacies, typically the big red hot water bottle enema kit is typical. Those work very well. We have under detox tools at drnuzum.com. We do have some that you can get from Amazon. Uh,
Okay.
there, most pharmacies for children, you can get a fleet enema at almost any pharmacy. In they have. Again, you don't want to use the fluid that's in there. That's cathartic. That can cause cramping and
Yes. No. No.
uncomfortable
No. No.
feelings. But you can use the chamomile tea in children. You'll get the same effect,
Mm,
detoxing effect that you would get from using coffee as a coffee enema. So you have that chamomile tea will do the same thing for children that coffee would do for an adult. And
yes. Christy is asking, what are the benefits of the chamomile enema?
okay. Well, you get flushing of the colon. Okay, you get stimulation of the pumping, the peristaltic function of the colon. See the digestive tract, all the muscle in the digestive tract they're like rings, if you will,
Mhm.
in they squeeze like that, and so
Mhm.
it squeezes and propels things toward the exits, and so okay, so when someone vomits, okay,
Yes.
that the peristalsis is working but in reverse.
Yes. Mm-hmm.
Okay, and so that same effect should be pushing everything down, okay, and out. So chamomile helps stimulate that peristaltic function,
Mm-hmm.
number two. And then number three, it helps loosen up and drain everything out of the liver.
Mm-hmm.
extremely helpful for gut issues, for allergies, for low immunity. Uh, it's something that's an old. I mean, way before
Practice.
naturopathic medicine, that was an
Yeah.
old fever remedy.
Mm-hmm.
So if a child
How
has a
often do
fever,
you have to do it?
um, typically not more than twice. Like for a fever, it once almost always will break a fever.
Mm.
Sometimes you have to use it twice, but it's a good, we call it a hip pocket remedy.
Mm-hmm.
You know,
Right.
just it's something that always works. So you get a tough fever in a child, chamomile tea enema works great.
Mm.
Uh, in in that case, it hydrates them
Mm.
and it helps their body start eliminating, and so that helps their helps them all the way around.
Right. Well, thank you for explaining because I had no idea either. And I can see Sue is posting, how can you detox a 10-year-old without having to hold down a fighting bear? Mine would fight that. And I can imagine my
Sure.
son would be fighting as
Sure.
well. Like, hey, what are you doing? Hey, no,
Right.
no, this is the exit.
Right.
Is
um,
there a way that you can
you,
prepare a patient, especially with sensory issues?
again, with them, you might want to just stick with like digestive detox or something
Hmm.
along those lines.
Right.
Something that it uh, it just functions internally. That way, you don't have to do
Mhm.
anything too invasive. But without the, if they have those sensory issues, it can be, the
Mhm.
last thing you want to do is make it a bad experience.
Oh, yes. No,
Also,
forget
that's
about
not good
that.
because once
Yes.
it's a bad experience, it's stuck and it'll always be a bad experience, and
Yeah.
that's not, you don't want to do that. So I would, um, as long as they can take the just a detox or that
Mhm.
kind of thing, I would work that route first.
Right. And also, what helped Michael when we went to visit New Mexico, Maureen Sutton, who works with Dr. Sunil Pai,
Hmm.
she is amazing. And she had a wonderful way with Michael. She just put warm towel on Michael's stomach because he was bloated and also very anxious before having his blood drawn. So she put some essential oil as well. And basically, I think it was. Fennel, essential oil,
Yep.
something
Yep.
calming and soothing. And she just massaged it very slowly in circular movement,
Right.
very gently, like a natural wave, and then different patterns of massage of his abdominal. And he
Excellent.
immediately calmed down and, okay, passed gas because I guess that's the natural way to do. Yeah,
Right.
but it
Right.
was amazing. So maybe that's another solution
That
together with the detox.
the way to do that is
Hmm.
you start on the right side of their abdomen, the right
Hmm.
side of their belly button. Okay,
Hmm.
and you want to start between the belly button and the pubic bone.
Hmm.
Start on the right side. You massage up to the rib cage on the right side, and then you're going to go across to the left side, and
Hmm.
then down to the pubic bone on the left side. So it's
Hmm.
kind of a U shape. You
Hmm.
go up on the right, across to the left, and then down on the left.
Right. Okay.
That works really well. That works really, really well.
Yeah.
And especially like with a hot towel or something like that,
Hmm.
that's really good.
Relaxing.
Yes.
Yeah. So that's another way how we can handle our teddy bears that are fighting. Yeah, but in general, I think kids start feeling even when kids are nonverbal, like my son,
Mhm.
they immediately notice the difference how they feel when they get some good results from the detox. Okay, at first, yes, the all the emotional
Right.
overflow can just because it's unplugged. Like you said,
Right.
even when I was going through the detox for the first time, it was like, I cry watching commercials, Nationwide is on your side. Oh, Nationwide! And so,
Right.
yeah, emotions come out of nowhere. It's like pregnant women. out of nowhere, you
Right,
start watching Bambi and crying your eyes out. So yeah. So I imagine with
right.
sensitive autistic kids, it's even more when things start changing and actually those toxins are being pushed out from your system and emotions are released. It's like overwhelming.
Right.
Yeah.
That's one of the things. Is something that might is on our fulvic acid that we
Mm-hmm.
extract. Okay, it has the chelating effect. Okay, like
Yeah.
virtually all fulvic acids are going to have a good chelating effect, right?
Mm-hmm.
The way most fulvics are extracted, the antioxidant component of the fulvic acid gets damaged. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
so either they use too much heat or too much cold in the process,
Mm-hmm.
or because it extracting fulvic acid isn't something easy to do. So
Right. I
there's a
imagine.
very it's a
Yes.
very set process. In it, you can vary it a little bit, but
Mm-hmm.
you have to be the variations are very exact. And so
Mm-hmm.
if you go too long in one process and then too long in the other process, or not long enough in one of the others,
Mm-hmm.
you damage your extract. Is what
Wow.
happens. In and then there's lots of companies that extract fulvic acid using solvents,
Mm-hmm.
which that damages the antioxidant component. So the almost always the chelating capacity is almost always there.
Mm-hmm.
Uh, but what very rarely is there is the antioxidant capacity, which
Mm-hmm.
is one of the things that we have in our fulvic is we have both, and so they're both together. So here's what happens is that's why we get such quick results with people. They when they start taking the fulvic, it goes in and starts chelating. It starts pulling the toxins out.
Right.
But then the antioxidants go in and soothe that injured area where the toxins were. Kind of like if you had a sliver in your foot,
Mm-hmm.
um, and you pull the sliver out. Well, that's going to help. That's very helpful. But
Yeah.
if you don't do something to soothe the sore spot,
Yes. It
it's still
heals
going to
quicker.
hurt. It'll
Mm-hmm.
heal quicker if you do that. Yes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, makes sense. Make perfect sense. So, can you tell our audience where they can find your products and what's your website again? I mean, I'll post underneath,
Thank
and you
you.
can also add your comments and your answers to our viewers' questions. But if they want to buy any of your products or they have more questions about your detox protocols, where they can find you?
It's drnuzum.com.
Mm-hmm.
drnuzum.com.
Yes.
Um, and then we have Detox Your Way to Health on Facebook. It's a Facebook page that we have that you might be
Mm-hmm.
interested in. We have a lot of really nice people like Ula on our on our page there. We have actually quite. I think we're up 3,500 people in that
Yes, I
group.
believe
It's a
so.
big group, and what's nice is everyone shares their experiences and things that have helped them in the detox process and
Mm-hmm.
things like that. It's really, really nice. It's been a really,
It's like a
I love
support group.
it. It's a support group. It really
Yeah,
is.
because we exchange also some recipes. And if you have any questions or doubts, like, okay, guys, I'm on the detox protocol, the 21-day detox, and this is happening to me. Is it normal? And then other people who went through the same, don't worry, chillax. Yes, it's normal. I went through the same. And it's like, it doesn't always have to be your answer, although you are very active together with your wife and other people here is just a huge source
That's
of support
that's
as
what
well. So
we're hoping in a support group. And
yes.
we like I said, we have so many people that have been through our programs and things,
Hmm.
and they're really helpful. So many people. Even if Gina or I can't get to answering a question, almost always someone else gets in. Oh well, I just did this. Doc said this, or Gina said, and so
Right. Yes.
it's really
And
good.
Nita is always very, very proper because she has a diary with all your protocols. So she always can send back to a specific protocol. Yes. She's the soldier.
Excellent. That's great. That's
Yeah.
wonderful, wonderful. Uh,
So it's Detox for Life, Detox Your
it,
Way to Health.
Detox
That's
Your Way to
the
Health.
group
Yes, is the Facebook group, and drnuzum.com
website.
is the website.
Wonderful. Well,
Thank
again,
you
it
so
was
much.
tons of information, and I hope we answered a lot of questions. Oh, 1 second. Sue is asking, are you a DAN doctor? Defeat Autism
Yes,
Now.
yes, I am. Daniel. Oh, I'm sorry, DAN. I'm sorry. Um, yes, yes, I am. Yes,
Yes,
yes.
because it's no longer used. I don't think DAN as a title is used anymore. Defeat Autism Now. It was basically all the first homeopathic and natural doctors, alternative medicine doctors, practitioners, chiropractors who were working with autistic patients who were healing from the gut and all the other symptoms related to autism. So it's no longer used as far as I'm concerned,
Yeah, I don't think
but
anyone.
it's the same thing.
It's the same. We're same concept. Same
Yes.
concept.
And yes, you are DAN,
And then I'm
IEL.
Daniel.
So yeah, that's in your
Thank
name.
you.
It's great. So
Uh, I appreciate it.
awesome.
Thank you, Ula. Thank
Thank
you.
you so much, Doctor. And again, I hope we can have you and maybe together with Gina because I really want to talk about diet, specifically diet, and some recipes, ideas, and why specific products are put together to create a very healthy meal, especially for children on the spectrum or with gastrointestinal issues, which I think
Right.
most of us have. So if we can have you back sometime soon, that would be amazing.
Absolutely.
Thank you so much again for your insight and feedback and everything.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks for having me. We appreciate it.
Thank you. God bless
All
you.
right. God bless you.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye bye.